So this is Tableau 2019.3 homepage. The moment you open it, the first thing that all of you might have noticed, anybody who has worked on any of the previous versions of Tableau, one thing that you might have noticed is that Tableau server here, it moves up to the top on the connect pane. Okay. 2019.4, truly speaking, I have not yet explored because it was introduced recently, right? It came, I think, on 6th November. Sorry, 6th of this month, 6th or 16th of this month. Um, we'll have to look and, wait and check. Maybe one week more you can wait for a week more. Because if there are any minor bugs, they will get fixed immediately. Once the release happens, it takes about 1 or 2 weeks to identify any bugs and then for Tableau people to do quick fixes on that. So I would request you all better to wait for a week more before we proceed and install it. Okay. So 2019.4 new features will be taken up next week, next Saturday. That is on 1st of December. We have a session planned for the new features on 2019.4. So maybe after that you can get the version upgraded. Okay. So once you're aware of what all features are there and you will also be able to understand how it's going to benefit you, then you can take a call on whether or not you would like to upgrade immediately or if you would want to stay for a while with 2019.3. So when we're talking about the new features, the first thing that you will notice is that the Tableau. Sorry, I request all of you to just be on mute the moment you log in. Please check your audio connection. Make sure you're on mute so that there would not be any disturbance. And then whenever you have a question, please use the chat window to raise your question. If it is something that you would like to ask, then we will take it up at the end of the session. In case you want a one-on-one discussion about something, we'll take it up at the end of the session. Okay. So to begin with, Tableau Server moves to the top. Earlier in version 2019.2 and any of the previous versions prior to that, Tableau Server used to be here, right? So we had Tableau Server coming up in the server section on the connect pane here, but in 2019.3 that has been moved up. So just the position has been changed. It's not like some enhancements have been made to the connectors or to the data. Any extra features are added, with respect to how we get connected to the data. It's just that the position of Tableau server option has been moved to the top. And a few connectors have been added. One prominent connector that you will see is Databricks. Okay, so we can now get connected to the data coming from a data source which is named as Databricks. This is, I think, the only connector that has been introduced in the latest version, in the version of 2019.3. Now I cannot call it the latest version anymore because latest is 2019.4. All right, so that is another thing that you will notice. And support has been added for Italian language. Whenever we create any workbook in Tableau, now it is basically defaulted to the locale on your machine. Where is the locale on your machine? Accordingly, it gets defaulted to that particular locale. And I'm showing you 2019.2 now, where you can see that Tableau supports all of these languages. There were 10 different languages that Tableau supported until 2019.2. All right. And now in 2019.3, support for Italian language has been introduced. So with this included, Tableau now supports 11 different languages. So if you suppose, for example, if we choose any language other than English or the default, whatever is your default location, suppose I'm going to choose Italiano, we may have to restart Tableau to make these changes take effect. So you see Tableau is automatically getting restarted, the latest version 2019.3, and you can see all the menus, all the options now, they appear in Italian. Okay, so suppose I want to get connected to Microsoft Excel, sample superstore. The names of the worksheets, the names of the data sources, they have not changed, but the rest of the options have changed. Instead of extract, you have something for something in Latin for extract. Okay, so worksheet is this. Everything, all the options there, you will see that they will all appear in Italian. Okay, let me change it back. Guida is help, so I will go there, and I think this is the option to choose language. I will change it back to English United States. And once I do this, Tableau will again restart either by itself, and if it has not restarted by itself, then to make those changes get reflected, the language change that you have made, if you want that change to get reflected, then you will have to restart Tableau. So I will close this, saying that yes, I want to make the modifications, but not save the workbook. And then I will open 2019.3. Either Tableau automatically restarts when the language is changed. If it restarts automatically on the new version that opens, automatically you will see the changes happening. If it does not restart, then you will have to manually close Tableau and then open it. Only then whatever changes you have made to the language settings will get reflected. All right, now I had to close Tableau and then I opened it. Now I can see everything again in English. All right, so new language support is one thing. Tableau server moves to the top of the connect data pane, and data connection for Databricks has been introduced. Three things we have discussed so far. Let me get connected to Sample Superstore, and then we will reach the canvas and look at the other features that are introduced there. On the data source page or on the start page, or the welcome screen or the home page of Tableau, these are the three things that you can go ahead and modify and observe. Just a moment. All right, let's move on to the next feature. Now we all know that from within Tableau, we get a lot of help with respect to working on Tableau. If you're in any doubt with respect to any chart that you're creating, or you think you need extra help, extra assistance, then we get it in Tableau itself. To a very large extent, we get it in Tableau itself. So if you open help from the help menu, when you select the option to open help, Tableau will take you to Tableau's online repository, where we can get a lot of articles on different topics, right from getting started to how do we connect to data sources, how we prepare the data for connection, what are the type of charts that we can build, how do we analyze the data, creating dashboard stories. So basically this is like a bible, it's like the complete end-to-end details about Tableau. And on this page, a new thing that has been introduced is the option to send feedback. Okay, there is this blue send feedback icon which get displayed here in the bottom right corner of the help page. On every help page, you might start looking at topics, you might start navigating to different pages. Wherever you go, you will find this blue icon which will help you send your feedback. So you can simply click on that icon and let Tableau people know whether or not the article was helpful, and if you also want to leave any comment, you can definitely leave a comment. All right, you can leave a comment about what you think about the article and how it was helpful to you, or what improvements you think should happen here. So if you're saying the article was not helpful, you can even then leave a comment and tell what things that you expect in future or whatever. So that is one thing that has been introduced with respect to the help option that is there in Tableau. Then the next feature that we will be looking at, which I personally feel is an amazing feature that came up in Tableau, is called as explain data. It was not there prior to 2019.3. It is a brand new feature introduced in 2019.3, which is called as explain data. What explain data does is whenever you create any chart in Tableau, suppose that data has any outliers or out of context data points, out of control data points, then explain data, when you choose that option, it will automatically apply a lot of machine learning algorithms, specifically the Bayesian methods, to give us a suggestion as to why that anomaly occurred in the data on the chart. Okay, so basically it gives, you have to be on mute, all of you, because the session is getting recorded, right? It's a request from my side. It's getting recorded, so all the disturbance also will get recorded. All right. So explain data, what it does is it provides AI driven explanations for the unexpected values that you see in your data with just a single click. If there are any unexpected values, if there are any outliers, out of control data points, something is not matching the pattern of the data that is there, the regular pattern, then immediately when you ask Tableau to explain about that point, it provides AI driven explanations for that unexpected values. Okay, now behind the scenes, remember, Tableau is basically exploring hundreds of potential explanations as to why that data point or that anomaly existed, and then it will give you the most appropriate explanation of all that it thinks is the best, you know. So how this helps us, let me show you with a few examples, because this comes in very handy. I have used a workbook which Tableau people themselves have used to demonstrate the capability of this tool. So I will give you the example which was given by Tableau people themselves first, and then I will give you an example which I created to showcase the significance of explain data tool. So here we have bike riders data. Okay, this is a chart where we are looking at the trip distance across different months. Okay, so we are looking at the trip distance across different months. So January, when we collected the riders data, in January, it is apparently the trip distance is 695 kilometers or whatever. In February, March. So then we observe that in August, there are many rides happening in August. Highest number of rides are happening in the month of August. Now we want to know what happened in August which led to this kind of very high number of riders taking long distance drives, probably increasing the trip distance. Overall sum of the trip distance is getting increased significantly. So what is happening? What is causing this anomaly or this exception? When you click on that data point which you want Tableau to further inspect, okay, further inspect and further explore, further analyze, when you click on that data point, if at all the light bulb option is active, if at all the light bulb option is active, that is the icon that is used to explain the data. And only when it is active, it means that this definitely is an anomaly. Something Tableau detected is wrong here, or maybe something is way too correct. We don't know. So we can simply click on that explain data icon. Tableau will scan through all the possibilities. Behind the scenes, it is evaluating the selected value. Behind the scenes, hundreds of potential explanations are being checked, and the most likely explanations are what will surface. So based on the weather conditions, Tableau thinks that this mark has an whatever expected value it has higher trip distance. What are the possible explanations for the higher trip distance by 8,800? One thing is weather conditions. So it understands, or Tableau thinks that the weather conditions could be one reason why the trip distance is increasing in August. And here, the blue mark that you see is the data, is the mark indicating the information about the data point that you have selected, about the bar that you have asked Tableau to explain. Okay, that is all in blue. And compared to the gray mark, which is all the other data points used or which have come up on the view. Okay, now here I have selected one data point which I want Tableau to further analyze and see what is different here. So we clicked on the explain data icon. Tableau scanned through potentially maybe hundreds of reasons, and then it surfaced with two most likely explanations. one thing pertaining to the weather conditions. And this chart has two colors here. It is a simple bar in a bar chart with two colors. There is a blue colored mark and there's a gray colored mark. Everywhere you can see there's a blue and gray colored mark. Okay. So the blue color mark basically corresponds to the data point that you have selected on that chart, which you're further trying to explore or analyze. And the gray color mark corresponds to the data pertaining to all the remaining data points. All the other remaining data points. Now, maybe we are not able to understand this chart so well. Maybe we want a better view of it. Okay, then you can simply click on this icon, which will create a worksheet for you. It will open this view in a new worksheet altogether. So when I click on that icon, you can see how Tableau has given me the worksheet. I'll close this. The overcast conditions seem to be very, very favorable in August. Okay, so you see this is all marks and this is selected marks. Let us turn on the highlighter. This is all marks. And this is the data corresponding to the mark that we have selected. And what appears to have happened here is mainly the overcast weather condition in August. Overcast is when you call a weather condition an overcast when basically it is covered with clouds. It is not going to rain. It is not sunny. At the same time, it is not going to be there's not going to be rain. But overall, the sky is covered with clouds, and it's a pleasant kind of a climate. You know, especially when you want to go out for a long ride, that would be the most optimum climate. Okay, no, neither heat nor is it very cold. At the same time, there is clouds and it's a beautiful scenario out there. So that is the time when people would definitely want to go for long drives, especially bikers. So that could be one potential explanation according to Tableau. All right. So Tableau does this. It scans through a lot of other possibilities and gives you with the most maybe appropriate reason for that particular outlier. Now let me show you a visualization that I designed to understand this concept. So let's take, I'll build a weekly sales report. Continuous week I'm choosing. I'll build a weekly sales report and I'll make this a dot plot. Now this is the sales. I'm happy with all of these data points, but I feel that there is an outlier here, which may or may not be an outlier. But in my opinion, I think there is one data point which is not fitting in this pattern here. Maybe a few more here also. Here also we have, but let us examine this data point. So when I click on that data point, of course, we have the quick filter options like keep only and exclude on the tooltip. But there is explain data icon, which is active. If explain data icon is not active, it means Tableau does not think that that data point needs any further analysis or exploration. Okay. If this is active, that means it needs an explanation. You just click on it. Tableau will apply the Bayesian methods. It applies a lot of algorithms and it comes up with the best or the optimum solution or explanation for what caused that particular data point. So it is higher than expected by 35,609. This is higher than expectation, or that is the value. It is higher than expected. Now the possible explanation is a single record with a value of 22,638. Meaning what? In that particular week, which is ending on 13th March 2011. All right, week 13th March 2011, there was one transaction apparently, a single transaction where the sum of sales was 22,638. One record with the value of 22,638 is increasing the sum of sales. So overall, there are 54 transactions which have happened on that in that week. Okay, this mark contains 54 records. So this is the sum of sales at week level of detail. In that week, there are 54 transactions. There are 54 records in the database for that week. And it is telling us that there is one particular record with very, very high sales. That could be the reason why we got this extreme value for sum of sales of 35,609 here. And it is also telling us that suppose we exclude that extreme value of 22,638, suppose we exclude it, then the sum of sales will change from 35,609 to 12,971. And 12,000 means it will probably come over here, right? 12,000, if you look at the axis, it will come somewhere over here, which is there quite fitting into the rest of the data points, right? So it is also showing you what that data point is. The date when it happened, order ID, what was the product that was sold. Okay, so there is video conferencing unit, Cisco telepresence video conferencing unit, and they sold it with a loss of 1800. All right, for home office. Using standard class of shipment, it has been sent out. It belongs to machines category. It was sent to Florida. So you have the record also, which is basically causing that particular disturbance in the data. You see this chart now? These are all the sum of sales which happened in that week, the sum of sales for different transactions which happened in that week. And here is the transaction. You look at the sales axis here. Okay, sum of sales which happened for all the other transactions in that week. And there is one with the value of 22,000, very high value. This chart shows the extreme value in the range of values within sum of sales. All right. So suppose I remove that one value, suppose I exclude that record from the data source, then I will end up with the data point coming here, close to 10,000. Okay. So that is one possible explanation. Another possible explanation Tableau says is the average value. This mart has an average sales of 659, higher than the expected average sales for this mart, is increasing the sum of sales. So we get to decide. Tableau will give us a lot of suggestions, but then it is up to us to decide whether or not it is relevant, whether or not it appears meaningful. So I think, in my opinion, this is quite a meaningful explanation rather than going with the average of the sales in that for the records there. Okay. So this is how now we know that we can identify outliers in Tableau. We can either create a box plot, or we can create a statistical control chart, or we can simply integrate Tableau with R and use the MV outlier package. So there are different ways in which we can identify outliers. But all these charts will only show you the outliers. None of them will give you an explanation for why that outlier occurred in the first place. And this explain data feature will not just help you identify the outliers, it will also give you a potential explanation for why that outlier occurred. Okay, so that is another very interesting feature which came up. The next feature that we will look at is on the dashboards front. Let me just open a dashboard and I will tell you the features. Let me compare it with 2019. It will be easier to understand. This is 2019.2. And from 2019.3 also, I'll open the same dashboard. So the dashboard I'm using contains 4 worksheets. There is average shipping cost by country. There is a shipping cost bar graph. There is a product orders stacked bar graph. And okay, there's average shipping cost by country where each and every country here is colored based on the average shipping cost there. So we understand that this particular country in African market has very high average shipping cost. Okay. Then there is a shipping cost bar graph, which is showing again the average shipping cost itself across different ship modes and different order priorities, color coded by order priority. Product orders is a stacked bar graph where I can look at the total number of orders, the distinct count of orders right? That means total number of unique orders which have been placed for a product. For example, staples. Overall, I know 222 orders have been placed. And then the stacked bar is stacking the information about the orders pertaining to different order priorities. So of the 222 orders, I know that 10 of them are with low order priority, 133 with medium order priority, there's 57 with high order priority, and there is 22 with critical order priority. Okay, I'm just trying to give you a quick explanation about what these charts are that I'm going to use to create the dashboard. And there is one area graph showing the running total of shipping costs. Now, I would like to create a dashboard by and place all these worksheets on it. So when you go to the dashboard option, you will see there is an option called as auto generate phone layouts. Now I'm getting confused on which version I am. Let me check. Yeah, this is 2019.2. The dashboards are automatically generated for phones, because when we design a dashboard, it will look perfect on a desktop monitor, laptop monitor. It might look perfect even on a tablet or an iPad. But when we talk about phones, the screen resolutions decreases significantly, right? At least on a laptop, it is like minimum of 800 by 600 pixel screen resolution. And the moment we switch to a phone, then it drastically reduces. And there is a very high likely chance or possibility that the worksheets on the dashboard may get distorted because of that. Okay. So to avoid all that, what Tableau people have done is they auto generate the reports for phone layouts provided this option is selected. Now, so when you go to the dashboard option, you will see that there is default and there will be phone also. Okay. Now, how do I build a dashboard? Simply, I will drag and drop the worksheets there, and Tableau will neatly position them. So I don't have to worry about it. I will use the size as automatic. That way the dashboard will resize to fit any screen it is displayed upon. So far it's the same as it's the same like we have been seeing all the while in all the versions. Now here this is 2019.2. Okay, I'm trying to show you this and then I will show you the differences that have come up in 2019.3. Phone layout, when you go, Tableau will automatically create the layout for you. All right, so when you click on the phone layout using the worksheets that are present on the dashboard, this is the screen of the phone. You see this gray outline, we know is the screen of the phone, and this much content. On the default, what we did is we placed the dashboards in a zigzag pattern. Map, then the bar graph, then the stack bar, then the area graph, zigzag. But the moment it went to phone, we know that Tableau will automatically create the layout for us. Okay, because there is the option to use automatic layout, which comes here. I want to use automatic layout. All right. And when we use automatic layout, this is what Tableau decided to do. Or you can edit the layout yourself. When you use edit layout myself option, you see here, you get an option to rearrange the layout. Or you get an option to delete the layout. If you don't want a phone layout, then you can delete it. Or you can rearrange the layout, which means you can basically change things. You can reorder them. You can change the sequence. You can delete what is necessary, etc. Means you're not basically liking what Tableau did. You did like what Tableau did, so you're going to edit yourself, and at the same time, you're also going to rearrange. These options have always been there. But now in 2019.3, it is slightly better, I would say. The same dashboard. It is built the same way. Sorry. Okay, it is the same dashboard which is built the same way. Here under phone layout, when you come, under phone layout, when you go, there is no option called as I want to use automatic layout, or I want to edit the layout myself. That option is not there. Instead, what happens in 2019.3 is there is a lock symbol, which means Tableau has automatically created the layout for us. Because why? We selected this option, right? And this option also has been renamed. what was called as auto generate phone layouts is now called as add phone layouts to new dashboards. The naming has changed. Here you will not get the option of I want to do something. Instead, that option is replaced by a log. When it is logged, it means Tableau has automatically generated the layout and it has placed the components on the layout. And if you check the option, you just get the option to edit the layout. If you want, you can edit the layout. Once you say you want to edit the layout, it gets unlocked, and then you can customize, maybe resize, reposition, remove things which are not necessary. Okay. Or you can again go back to saying auto generate the layout, which will lock it and it'll leave it as what Tableau decided. So you get to toggle between whether you want to automatically allow Tableau to generate the layout for you, or do you want to, I'm trying to, okay. It allows you to decide whether you want Tableau to generate the layout or you want to do it yourself simply by clicking on the lock icon. All right. So that is the thing that has happened on phone here. Now, when you auto generate the layout, what happens is, suppose you have added something here. Let's add a web page. When you auto generate a layout, suppose you have added any extra components on your default dashboard, these extra components, worksheets or objects, whatever you add, they will automatically be incorporated into the phone layout, which is being auto generated by Tableau, indicated by this lock icon. You see, Google came up here. Suppose I unlock it. You see, the Google homepage also came up here. So whatever gets added to the default layout will automatically be included in the phone device layout if we are auto generating the layout, if we are allowing Tableau to auto generate the layout for us. In case you keep this open, you don't want Tableau to auto generate the layout for you, and then you make some modifications or you add something here. Okay, it's not auto generating. And now let's say I'm going to add an image. Okay. Now when you go to the device layout, it will not automatically come here. You see, that plot did not automatically come here. Why? Because I did not auto generate the layout. If I auto generate the layout, it comes. All right. So when you have to be careful whether or not you want to use this lock. If you're using it, which means whatever new components get added to your dashboard, they will automatically be included in the device layout, phone layout. If you are editing it yourself by keeping it unlocked, then if there is any new component added on the default layout, you will have to go and manually introduce it in the device layout. Tableau will not automatically take care of it. Okay, so that is an important point to remember. So that is the basically the change that has come with respect to dashboards. Okay, this is the only change that has come with respect to dashboards, basically rephrasing of this concept and using a padlock instead of using I want to edit myself or I want to auto generate. Those two options are simply now coming up in the form of a lock so that we can quickly toggle between the two options. Okay, I'll just close this now. This is not necessary. The next option that has come up is with respect to parameter actions. Right. So this is Tableau 2019.3.2. All right, with respect to parameter actions. Now we know the purpose of using a parameters. We know that parameters are basically variables, right? They are just variables which replace constant values, be it in calculated fields, be it in filters, or while creating a set, or when you are using reference lines. So wherever you get an option to enter a constant value with a drop down icon on it, then definitely you will find an option to create a parameter there. We know that. Now we also know that in version, I don't correctly remember, 2018.3 or 2019.1, parameter actions came into picture, right? Where we can change the value of the parameter directly from our chart, directly from the chart, rather than going to the parameter and then changing a value there. You can do it directly on your chart itself. Parameter actions have been enhanced with the latest, with the 2019.3, in the sense that you can create the parameters when you're putting the action. Okay. So let me give you one example on this. We'll do a couple of examples because this is again a very interesting feature. So let's say I'm looking at sum of sales versus sum of profit scatter plot, which is granularized at subcategory level of detail. Okay. Sum of sales versus sum of profit scatter plot, which is granularized at subcategory level of detail. Meaning what? Each and every data point here is indicating the sales and profit for a particular subcategory. For all the 17 subcategories that we have 17 data points here. Now my requirement is this. When I select certain data points here, I would like to see the average of the selection. I want to see the selection's average sale value, means this plus this plus this, the sales of each of these three data points divided by 3 in this case. So whatever number of data points I select, I want to see the selection's average sales value. Okay, that's the requirement. So how do we do it? We can directly create a parameter, but I'm talking about not creating a parameter right away, but creating a parameter while applying the action, to change the parameter values. So what I'll do is directly go to the worksheet option and go to actions. When I go to actions, we know that at worksheet level, we can add a lot of actions. Here I'm trying to add an action that will help me change the value of the parameter. Now this might not sound appropriate, right? You're trying to change the value of a parameter which is not even created. Okay, so earlier until 2019.2, first of all, we used to create the parameter and then we went and selected the option where we can change the parameter value dynamically based on the selection made on the chart. But now, even though the parameter is not yet created, you can select the option to change the parameter. You can give it some meaningful name. I'll call it selections average sale value on sheet. Okay, I did not give it a meaningful name. All right, for now, I'll just leave it as sheet 2 because I did not rename my sheet to something appropriate, which is a good practice actually. Run action on select. It's always good to rename the worksheet to whatever data you're trying to represent there, whatever chart, to something which is meaningful and contextual. Never leave it as sheet 1 and sheet 2. Here, you see target parameter. Until 2019.2, we could simply click on this drop-down icon and choose the parameter that we have already created. But now in 2019.3, the enhancement that has come up is that we can create a new parameter right here. Okay, so you don't have to pre-create a parameter even before you apply an action. You can do it while you have tried to add the action. While you're trying to add the action itself, you can go ahead and create a parameter of your choice based on your requirement, of course. So here is the option to create a new parameter. This is the new feature that got introduced in 2019.3. This is the new feature that came up. So once I select the option to create a new parameter, the parameter creation window will come up. We can give it a name. Let's call it again the same. Selections average sales value. Data type will be float because it is going to compute the average of the sales values of the data points that I select. Now sales is a floating value, numeric data type, which will allow decimal values in it. Therefore, we have to choose the data type as float, and I will allow all values. Okay, because the average could be anything. When we select a few data points and take the average of the data, can turn out to be anything. We cannot fix the range. So we will simply leave it as allowable values as all. That is my target parameter. The result of the action that I will perform on this worksheet, which is selecting a few data points, is going to affect this parameter. And the field that I want to base it is on sum of sales with the aggregation as average, because I want to get the average of the sum of sales data points which are being selected on the screen. Okay, average of what are the data points that are represented on the screen? Of the sum of sales data points present on the screen. That is what I want. Okay, once I do this and click on OK and OK, you will notice that the parameter pane grid gets created automatically, and the selections average sale parameter is there in the parameters pane now. We did not create it initially, we created it while performing the action, while applying the action at this worksheet level. Now when I select a few data points, the average is being computed, but we have to display it somewhere, right? We have created the action, we have created the parameter, everything is fine, but where do we display the average? Now there are different places you can do it. I will simply put it on the title of the axis. So I'll double click on the title, and what I will call the title is, let's say, selections average sales value is, and then let us insert the parameter, because what will be the value in this parameter? It will be the average of the sum of sales data points which are present on the canvas, which we are going to select. Right now we have not selected anything. Suppose I will select these two data points. Now the average of these two, you can see 158,454. Suppose I select these two data points. One is approximately near 50K, the other is approximately around 120K, 114K and 46K. Average of these two is 80,776.76715. Again, the decimals, too many decimals, doesn't look good. With so many decimals, I think we will just edit the display format of the parameter. Let us edit the parameter and change the display format to currency custom. We know that in Superstore, we are having data for United States, the sales happening in United States. So it is more meaningful if we can prefix the currency information, the sales value with a dollar sign, followed by a space and then the value. And I will reduce the decimal places to 0. Okay, so I'm changing the display format of that parameter and I'll click on OK. Now it's more meaningful, right? So now whatever data points you select, it's computing the average of those values, and that is coming up here on the title. I have chosen to represent it on a title, on the title. You can represent it any way you want. You can also represent it by creating a reference line based on this value. Okay, so it's your choice how you ultimately show the data. I have chosen to put it on the title. So that is how actions parameter, from within the parameter action box, you can actually create a parameter of your choice and then use it. Let's do one more example. I'll call this selective drill down. Okay, let me just explain you the scenario, what I'm trying to accomplish here, and then we will create the chart accordingly. So in Superstore, we have data for different categories. And let's say I'm interested in looking at the average sales for different categories. Okay, this is my chart. Now my requirement is, when I select furniture on the chart, only furniture category is supposed to expand. Office supplies and technology should still remain as one single line item. Okay, when I select office supplies, the office supplies category should expand and show me all the subcategories present in it. Furniture and technology should be only single line items by themselves. They should not expand. Okay, so what I'm talking about is to accomplish selective drill down. I want to accomplish selective drill down. This can again be done using parameters. But I don't want to create a parameter yet, because I will be doing it from the actions window. So I'll go to worksheet, actions. I want to add an action to change the parameter value. The name of the parameter, I'm going to call it as, name of this action, let us just call it as selective drill down. Okay. And the target parameter I have not yet created. Okay, I have not yet created the target parameter. So I will go ahead and create it now by choosing this option, create new parameter. I'll call it as selective drill down only. Okay, or maybe we'll call it as selected category is supposed to expand, right? So let us call it as selected category information will come here. If I select furniture, then that information comes. If I select office supplies, that information comes. If I select technology, that information will come. So I want to just keep it as selected category. It is going to be of string data type. And I will just allow all values initially. Let us see how it works. What is the target? Target is the category field. Okay. Now I'll write the calculation where I'll incorporate this parameter. Selected, or maybe we want to drill down to subcategory level. So let's call it subcategory drill down. So if what is selected on the selected category parameter is a valid field that is present in the category dimension, if what is selected on the parameter or the value in the parameter is a valid category, then I would like to look at the subcategories for that particular category. Else, I will simply leave it as blank and end the statement. Okay. So if whatever value is present in the selected category parameter, if that is a valid category present in the data source, then for that category, I would like to look at the subcategories by doing a drill down. And for the remaining categories, I will simply leave it as a space. Okay. Now this formula, I will use it on my chart. Right now, I have not selected any category. We did not click on anything. Suppose I click on furniture, that data gets passed into the selected category parameter through the parameter action that we defined, and only furniture got expanded. If I click on office supplies will get expanded. If I click on technology, technology will get expanded. So this is selective drill down using parameter actions. Now here, we can also show the parameter, and here we can give a parameter of our value of our choice. Okay, if it is something valid, then that particular category will expand. If it is not valid, then nothing will expand. So we know that we want the end user or the client. Okay, we want the end user or the client to basically select from a predefined list of values. They should be able to select category as furniture or as technology or as office supplies. These are the only three values being allowed there, right? In that case, leaving the allowable values all as all, it may not be meaningful. So let us actually list out the names of the categories like furniture, office supplies, and technology. Okay, list out the names of the categories and display them as a single value list. So I can choose here on the parameter and the values will change. Or I can directly, because it is an action, I can also change the values of this parameter directly by performing an action. What is that action we are performing? Select. We are clicking on it to select it. So that way also you can expand selected category. And when we talk about parameter enhancements that have happened, the action enhancements that have happened, one enhancement that you have seen is you can create a parameter as you are setting up the action. It is not necessary that the parameter has to be predefined. You can create it as you are setting up the action. Another change that has happened is here. The aggregations earlier did not include first quartile and third quartile. Aggregations, when you're defining a parameter action, We can also now have first quartile and third quartile. If you check 2019.2, you have everything else except for first and third quartile. Now the data for first and third quartile also is available. Those aggregations are also available. So that is another feature or enhancement that has happened with respect to actions. The aggregations have increased. All right. So these are the significant things that have happened in 2019.3. Another change that you will notice is with respect to the dates. One more enhancement that has happened is with respect to dates. Gregorian calendar is now available. So when you click on the date, we know that we have year, quarter, month, day, and more. And again, we have year, quarter, month, day, and more. These options have always been there. Okay, the first set of dates will treat the date as discrete date, and the second set of dates will treat the date as a continuous date. That we know. But now you can toggle between standard Gregorian date and the ISO 8601 calendar or week based date. Okay, so suppose you choose ISO, then this will change. Why? Because the way the beginning of the year is calculated with ISO. Here we have data up to 2014. And once you make it ISO 8601, which is week based, then it becomes 2015 also comes into picture. Because in ISO calendar, the beginning of the year is considered as wherever it is closer. Monday is closer. Suppose here we have data up to 31st December 2014, but that week actually starts in the last week of December. That week starts and it spreads or it expands to 2015. What I'm trying to say is, if you look at the 2015 calendar, I don't know if I can go back so much. That will be too much, right? Going back. If you just observe the calendar for 2015 and 2014, you will notice that the last week of 2014 in December, you see here, it ends on a Wednesday and it is stretching to 2015. So 2015 January 1st was a Thursday. This is also considered, this whole week is taken into account, and ISO is a week based calendar. So because this Jan, it started in 2014, so 2015 data also will come up. Even though we don't have data in 2015 in the data source, that year will get reflected because it is week based. Okay, and ISO week based calendar is very, very popular in financial reporting. Anybody in the financial domain would definitely appreciate this feature, because for financial reporting earlier, to accomplish this kind of a thing was very difficult in Tableau. We had to do a lot of manipulations on the date. But now with ISO year 86201 week based calendar, we don't have to worry. Once you do that, you see here, you can also customize it further, and you can choose ISO years, ISO quarters, ISO weeks, ISO weekdays. Earlier we had only years, quarters, month, and all these. Now you have ISO also. ISO is basically about how the beginning of the year is determined, and the year itself is divided into 4, 4, and 5 quarters. So the weeks in each thing is divided as 4 weeks, and 5 weeks in each quarter. Okay, quarter is split into segments of 4, 4, and 5 weeks. It's a very, very popular system when we talk about financial reporting and also retail reporting. So anybody working in financial and retail domains, you will find this very handy. Okay. So that is about the new features that got introduced, significant features with respect to Tableau Desktop, which got introduced in 2019.3. If you have any questions on anything that we discussed today, I will take it up. Otherwise, this is where we stop our discussion, and yeah, I'm available to take up any questions if you have. Thank you.
Hello, Bhargavi. I'm Venu. Basically, I want to first of all, I want some extra information about the Tableau.
Okay.
Tableau, is it support live data as well, or
Yes.
only it is batch data?
Live data and extract, both are there.
Batch data. Live data and batch data, or only it is intentional for batch data?
No, live data also.
Live data also. Okay. And it is, I think, don't get negative manner. Basically, what we are doing in Tableau, everything we can do it using Python or language also. But what the extra feature? The main reason, is there any career growth in Tableau or not? That is,
Yeah.
I mean, Dynamo. The
See,
main
one
reason.
thing is
Hmm,
Tableau is much easier compared to R and Python. It is more like a self-service tool. Okay. And
okay.
the technical bar to learn master Tableau
Everyone
is very
trying to minimize that cost. That's why.
sorry.
Okay, okay.
And
Okay, please.
with respect to job opportunities, Tableau is the best data visualization tool. I agree that whatever analysis we perform in Tableau, be it trend analysis or forecasting, regression, clustering, whatever analytical capabilities are there in Tableau, it is actually very less compared to what we can do in R and Python. Analytics wise, what we do in Tableau is very less. The capabilities are less. Definitely, I will agree with it. However, the kind of visualizations and the ease with which we can build them in Tableau is far superior compared to R and Python. Okay, you have to understand one point. Python is the market leader when it comes to statistical analysis, advanced statistical analysis on the data, and R is right next to it. All right. Tableau
But
is
big
the
data,
market
huge
leader.
amount of data, huge amount of data also it will working effectively. Large amount of data.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm
But
not
big
aware of it.
data,
That's why I
if
said,
you're
yeah.
talking about big data in the sense billions and trillions of records, then the processing speed will get impacted. Okay, it'll slow
Okay,
down significantly. It is definitely not at par with the kind of capabilities that Hadoop has to handle big data. Okay, that super fast capability of Hadoop, it does not have that much capability when you're talking about big data. Again, it does not have the capabilities of R and Python when you talk about advanced statistical computing. But by itself, it is the market leader in the world of data visualization. Okay, and which is this is a tool that is used by almost all the Fortune 500 companies and all the top notch companies for their data visualization needs, not for their analytical needs, not for their text mining needs, not for their big data needs. It is used for data visualization needs. Okay, so I understand
okay,
there are
okay.
limitations on Tableau. There are limitations, but if you look at it as a data visualization tool, it has been the market leader consistently for the past 7 years. Many other tools are there which are trying to match up to it, but none of them succeeded. Power BI is right next to Tableau. Okay, it's catching up, it's
Yes,
doing
sir.
really well. And next to Power
Yes,
BI,
sir.
you have ClickView. You have ClickView and ClickSense. Those things all will come after that. So Tableau and Power BI are at par with each other. However, Tableau has a notch above. It's a notch above it. It still has an edge over Power BI. You can ask anybody who's working on Power BI also, they will tell you the same thing. They will say market is in the market, Tableau is number one, then you have Power BI in the second position.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Job opportunities wise, for Tableau, they have increased. There was a recent survey which revealed job opportunities for Tableau in the last 1 year have increased by 6 times, and job opportunities for Power BI have increased 2 times. And other tools, they are not even in comparison, kind of.
Okay, that's why most of the members like me in Dynama, the main reason all technologies migrating to open source to minimize their cost.
Hmm.
So this is little expensive. That's why in
Right.
case if I learn this technology, if
Hmm.
later after learn this technology, everyone switching to open source means,
Hmm.
I think at the time there is no opportunity. That's why like me, most of the members in Dynama to choose this tab. That's why I'm asking
Okay.
this question.
Yeah, yeah. By itself, it's a market leader in the data visualization world. So when you learn this, the kind of job opportunities that you are looking at is mostly Tableau developer or data analyst, or to some extent you can apply for business analyst role.
Okay,
However,
okay. Thank you.
learning R
Getting.
or Python would definitely give you a much better advantage along with Tableau. If you can learn R or Python, then that would definitely put you on the top.
And one more, are you explaining Spark also how to visualize the data Spark and Hive? Are other tools instead of only Varakit and MySQL? Are you explaining in your
No,
training? Are you explaining these topics also, like Spark,
no.
how to
See,
visualize,
because
etc., etc.?
data connectivity is quite simple in
Okay.
Tableau, so that is not there. That it's like no matter where your data is, okay, no matter where your data is, with one click, by providing the credentials and the details about the server, you can log in. It is that easy. The connectivity and all is taken care of by Tableau people. So in the training, we will not be using any of those data sources. Mostly we will be using file-based, not server-based. Mostly we'll be using file-based data sources for all the activities in the training environment.
Okay. Thank you.
File-based only.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Selective drill down can be done on animation basis in the sense, are you talking about motion charts kind of thing? I don't know that feature I think is not there. So because when you take it there and you play the animation, right? It's only office supplies. It doesn't allow you to play the animation. If you select technology, then that's only technology. If you select furniture, it's only technology. So animation basis, I think not available. All right. Okay, I don't see any more questions coming up. Thank you all so much. I hope it was informative and hope to see you all next week.
And one more, if possible, please mail me this recording video if possible. Thank you.
Okay. So you might have to share your email ID with the team and they will be sending you the class recording.
Okay. Fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all so much. Hope to see you all next week when we discuss about 2019.4 new features. Thank you.